live. We are the partners of Solarian Games. I'm Jason.
And I'm Peter, and look, I didn't freeze up.
Hey, it's working. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, everybody, look at that. All right, so we got a few stories for you tonight. It's a bit of a slower news week going into the Christmas season, which is always nice. People are taking their time, but we still have some cool stuff to talk about. First of all, speaking of Christmas, there is a cool new set of short stories out from Ham and Egg Publishing called Hey Ho, Let's Go Home. January is going to be new Game Master Month. We'll talk about that. Over in Facebook land, this is something that will be of interest to creators who use Facebook to market. They are testing a link posting limit for professional accounts and pages. Ugh. Toon, the cartoon role-playing game, is finally, after 743 years, getting a second edition, which it deserves. And Candace Harris of Board Game Geek is joining GMT, the wargaming giant, to get deep into wargaming. All right, so let's kick it off. So I thought I would pull something for our first story out of the Analog Union newsletter. So if you are a listener who doesn't already know, when you go to analogunion.com, you will see that you can sign up for a free newsletter that comes from a whole bunch of different indie publishers, people we know, people that we're friends with. We joined up together so that we could get something that would give people fresh info, just what's going on in the world of tabletop indie weirdos this week. Sometimes it's some stuff that is promoting things. Sometimes it's cool essays. Like this week, we've got some things about the Dragon magazine. Joey Royale always has interesting things that he wants to spotlight from other people. And in this week's newsletter, a surprise little drop from John Maguire, actually from Ham and Egg Publishing, of which he is part. He's one of the partners. His collaborator, Gio Colazzo, has put out a zine, which is actually a short story zine, but we think it's pretty gaming related because, you know, it's Ham and Egg. And it's great. I've had a chance to read an early PDF of it. The actual physical zines are going out right now. And you can pick it up online over at the Ham and Egg Publishing Shop. It's called Hey Ho, Let's Go Home. And it's kind of a fun short story twist on the Christmas Carol. But instead of being visited by the three ghosts of Christmas past, instead of being Scrooge, the protagonist is actually a teenage runaway in New York City called Charlie, who's sleeping in the doorway of a closed record shop, cold, broke, angry, and alone. And over one long night, she is visited by the ghosts of the Ramones.
So that's cool.
I won't get too much into what happens. I don't want to spoil it. It's so well written. It was a lovely story to read at bedtime for me. I would love to, read it to a kid who was the right age and right perspective on the world to do it with. But it's about punk. It's about DIY. It's about how people matter to each other. It's a great kind of punk take on Christmas. I loved it. You can pick it up from Ham and Egg Publishing. You really should.
Hey,
and the artwork is great.
You're more up to date on like band stuff. I mean, because it used to be sort of your thing at one point.
Is, I think.
It used to be like your thing.
I used to do it for a living. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So how many of the Ramones have passed away at this point?
All.
Really?
I don't know.
Oh,
when it comes to the music thing, so Ramones are way before my time. I remember getting one of those KTEL compilations. You remember KTEL compilations? Where they would, golden hits of this year, rock 80, whatever. And had, first song I ever heard by them was, Do You Remember Rock and Roll Radio? And I didn't because I was 9. So I didn't know what they're talking about. But the Ramones to me were always a band from kind of before my time. I went back and got into them a bit, but it was never really my thing. I like the Ramones a lot. I love the world the Ramones created more than maybe the actual music.
I was into, just much like you, I was into the punk scene growing up, the 80s punk scene. And, but I never got into the Ramones. Like I knew who they were, obviously, and I knew a bunch of their music, and I would hang out with my friends and they'd listen to them and stuff. They just never resonated with me. But like you said, I do love the aesthetic they created. They were,
well, did you see the movie Rock and Roll High School?
I did not.
Okay, there's something for you to do this Christmas season
Okay.
is to sit down with your kid, sit down with your family and watch Rock and Roll High School. It's kind of a B movie starring the Ramones. Super fun, ridiculous, just yeah, it's great.
Okay.
I mean, here's the thing, the Ramones were not a punk band. I mean, yeah, punk existed partially because of the Ramones, but
Mm-hmm.
they never called themselves, they were always just a rock band. They did old school garage rock, and they were better as musicians than, I mean, this sounds silly because they basically played three chords and posed, but they
Yeah.
were better musicians than a lot of the punk bands
Oh
that were
yeah.
inspired by
Yeah.
them. So,
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah, it wasn't something I never saw them. I didn't follow them around. I don't know. And the other thing is, you got Marky, Dee Dee, Joey. I don't know which Ramones are which. I don't know how many. I mean, I know which are which, but I know some came later. I think there's one Ramone who might still be alive and is getting some flack over some stuff he's doing, or maybe he passed away. I just don't know.
Mm.
I don't know. But it doesn't
Anyway,
matter because hey
enough
ho,
about the
let's go home.
Ramones. The story is
They're
good.
just the ghosts. It's an awesome
Yeah.
story. It's an awesome set of short stories and great artwork, and it was a nice surprise to see it show up. So yeah,
Right.
that's the
Right.
thing.
And the link I posted up that people can see, or the image I posted up that people can see, you can see that Ham and Egg has quite a few. I mean, they've got
So much fun stuff.
they do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I did not know that they were this prolific with like creating stuff, because I know he does gaming stuff, but this as
Mhm.
well on top of it.
Well, this is gaming stuff. So most of
Is
these are
it?
games that we're
Oh,
seeing
they
here.
are, because I thought they were all zine. They look because they're game zines.
Right, right. So
I got
like
you. Okay,
they just did the Sewer Rats indie TTRPG anthology that just came
Mhm.
out. So that's a bunch of different people coming together.
Gotcha. Okay.
And A Girl Named Doom is a novel, so you're right about that. But then at the same time, we have stuff like there's Fairhaven Adventure in here for Joey Royale's WHPA
Mhm.
Weird Heroes of Public Access. There's lots of different stuff he brings people together from.
I see. Okay, so does Joey publish through Ham and Egg?
No, this was done for this is a third party thing for Joey's game.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then you can see you see the Devil in New Jersey up there that we've covered here before.
Mhm.
So I mean, John is just he's a connector in a lot of ways. He
Gotcha.
knows a lot of good people. He knows how to, I don't know, pick good people. Everybody I've ever met through John has been somebody I've liked. So he's
Yeah.
got good taste. He's got good taste in humans.
Good. All right. Cool.
All right, what do we got next?
All right. So next, so you'd mentioned that January is new Game Master month.
Yeah.
So this is kind of neat. So this reminds me. This takes me back to the what NaNoWriMo used to be. It's like, hey, here's a month.
Messed up.
Yeah, before it got obliterated. But here we are. Here's a month to like dedicate yourself to like doing something new. New Game Master Month is a month-long annual seminar held every January designed to teach prospective tabletop role-playing game players how to run their first game. So this is really cool. The idea being that you may have played games, maybe you never DM or game mastered, or maybe you've never played before and you want to get into the hobby. And maybe you have to be the game master because your group of friends have never played a game before and you're trying to convince them. At any rate, point of this is to help you go from 0 to 60, figure it out. Like how do I do this thing? And then, because there could be a lot of anxiety, I imagine, with that. It's something, especially if it's something brand new to you.
Obviously, the first time you do it, you have anxiety. When I was a kid, I had anxiety about doing it. But then, even for a lot of people, maybe they're getting back into gaming. Because
maybe it's been a while.
A lot of us have went through that. I did too. In like 2009 or so, I hadn't played games for maybe 10 years. So when I was like, oh, I'm going to start GMing again, I was completely nervous about it. I was going to mess it all up. I was sure of it. I would have, this would be great.
Right. So, so the program, it's a hands-on learning. Twice weekly posts provide quick activities and lessons to prepare you for a real game session. And as you can see, the games I have, if you can see, if you're watching this, I have a bunch of images up of the different games that they cover. So I'm assuming they had to boil it down to a certain number of games. So people are going to be helping people, because you can't just say any game, because what if no one's familiar with that game that's helping out?
Well, so this is what I don't know yet. I guess Chaosium runs, or no, not Chaosium. Who's running this? Monty Cook Games, right?
Yeah.
Is
Seems
running
like
this.
it.
But they've involved other publishers to come in with their stuff. I had never heard of this before. I know we definitely would have said, yeah, how can we get a, be a part of this? I went to their
Right.
Facebook page tonight and I just wrote, hey, what's this? Can we join?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe they'll still say, yeah, it doesn't start till January. We can get you in there.
Right.
Or maybe they'll say, better luck next year. Or maybe they'll say, go away, you losers. Whatever. I mean, I don't know. I feel like Monty Cook Games type people, I feel like they're, I don't know. I've never seen them like, in places I've been.
Right.
But it looks cool for those people that are able to do it. And, you know, yeah, great. If you want to get into running one of these games, this is a good way to do it.
Yeah. So, the goal of this is to guide a new game master through, full RPG session. Like I said, the available systems are Numenera, Dungeon Crawl Classic. This is for people who can't see the screen. Tales of the Valiant, Delta Green, Trail of Cthulhu, and Monster of the Week. And then Savage Worlds, Daggerheart, and Magical Kitties Save the Day. I never heard of Magical Kitties Save the Day, but I would try that if I went to a
good
convention.
name.
Yeah, it's a great name.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it looks really cool. I love the idea. I think it's fantastic. Instead of like, you watch these podcasts and stuff where the people giving GM tips, right? That's fine and good. But, that's like seeing a recipe. It's like the difference between seeing a recipe and somebody teaching you how to cook. You know what I mean?
It's the difference between sitting around learning a new language in your home by yourself versus getting out there and speaking with people who actually speak the language every day.
Right. And there's some power to a human saying to you, hey, I think you got this. You should go do it.
Yeah. So January, if you've been thinking about game mastering and you have not been, January is new game master month. So go to whatever the site is. And
it's new game master. Hold on, where is it? newgamemastersmonth.com.
Plural or singular?
Oh,
looks like it's singular.
I think it's singular.
All right. Well, I'll bet
we'll try both.
If you Google it, I'll bet you find it.
Yeah, you'll find it. Yeah. All right. So this is something new for us. I sent you a text the other day about this. Like, are we paying for a blue check? And this is why, because I saw the same thing.
All right. So you haven't changed the image yet. Okay. So here's the weirdness.
Oh, was there a new image?
No, you got it up. You got it up. It changed.
Okay.
All right. So just saw this in the news today on TechCrunch that Facebook is testing a link posting limit for professional accounts and pages, meaning that they're essentially saying that if you pay them what they're right now is saying $16 a month, they'll let you post links on Facebook. Yeah. All right. So let me unpack this a little bit. So there's a couple of different things going on here. First of all, they're not talking about for everybody. This isn't for personal pages, although that is an issue I'm going to mention. What they're saying is that for people who are using Facebook for their business, you've got a Facebook business account, a professional account, etc. They're thinking, how can we wring some more money out of these guys? Because we at Meta have a capitalization of only $1 or $2 trillion. That's not enough. That's not even as. That's like, what's that? The GDP of Germany? That's not even a big deal,
Right.
What about being the GDP of China? Come on, guys, we need more money. So the thing is, first of all, Facebook has been playing silly buggers with links and algorithms no matter what. Anybody who uses Facebook knows that if you go to Facebook, you're not seeing what you want to see. You're not seeing your friends, what they post, and you're especially not seeing if your friends post a link. So if you use Facebook, you've probably noticed a lot of times now somebody will just put up a picture and they'll say link in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't do that, if you put the link, if you post on Facebook with a link, the algorithm just says, well, I'm not showing that to anybody.
Shadow bans you. That's why everybody's doing that.
Yeah, it basically shadow bans you. I mean, I've put up links before and had some people see them, but it really just pushes them way down. So that's the first thing. But then there's this whole other thing. Facebook has professional accounts, and that's fair. We have a professional account. We just signed up for one because we realized that with Solarian, even though we have about 10,000 people following us on Facebook, our stuff doesn't seem to show up in anybody's feeds.
Nope.
I'm like, wait a minute. With 10,000 followers, I would expect the occasional "Hi, how you doing?"
Yeah. Yeah. Or cool post or something. A like.
A like. Give
Yeah.
us a poke. Give us a poke. So we went ahead and we coughed up the cash and we joined the Facebook verified thing, and we're paying dollars a month, however many it is. It's not a lot. For a business, it's not a lot. For an individual, it probably is. I'll say it. It's like $35 a month is what we're paying. And for that, supposedly our stuff actually will show up in people's feeds now. So they're saying, hey, you use Facebook where you are supposed to post things that other people see. So for $35, it'll actually work the way you think it works. But that's supposedly just to get things a little bit higher in algorithms and stuff like that. Now they're saying if you don't pay the professional fee, which I think we're already doing, I don't know if this is another fee on top of it, they're going to limit the number of links you can post per month as a business. But if you pay them their extortion, then they'll lift the limits.
Yeah, post away.
So I don't know. I don't know what this all means. I haven't looked into it too deeply. I just figured that for people who watch this podcast or this live stream or whatever the heck this is that we're doing, who have their own business accounts for their game company or their art or whatever it might be, go to TechCrunch, look for this, find out what it means to you. Think about it, what it means to your ability to promote your things.
I think it's working for us because it seems like the first, right after you did that, there was a couple things we shared and they just seemed to blow up. Now, I don't know if that was the case or if it's just that they were cool things that you posted. I don't know what it is, or maybe both. I don't know.
It was a little of both. I mean, so we got the blue check mark, and then I just thought of a funny meme, so I made it, and it was about dice bags and Crown Royal, and it blew up with like thousands of likes and reshares and stuff. So it was a good meme.
Mm-hmm. It was a good meme. Yeah.
And we're getting people seeing us, but I don't know. We have all these ways that we need to reach people now: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, Threads, Reddit, etc. Dig is coming back, etc., etc. It was definitely nicer when you could just take out an ad in the Dragon. Because I mean, if you think about it, when there were things like Dragon Magazine, White Dwarf, whatever it else, right? You could buy an ad in the back of those things and you would definitely get thousands of people writing to you or seeing what you're doing. Mm-hmm. I don't think you're getting any more today through social media unless you're spending the same amount as ever. Social media has not made advertising cheaper. It's just made it more complicated.
Some people are, but I think they're doing something we're not. Yeah, I guess they're just spending money.
Yeah. I mean, if you bought an ad in one of the magazines that I published back in the day, we were selling full page ads for around $4,000, $5,000 a page. And today that would be the equivalent of about $10,000, right? Uh-huh. So to get a full page ad in my old music magazine back in the 90s, you would have paid the equivalent of $10,000 today. And people spent that money because they got it back. They made it in sales because they knew that we were reaching, 50, 60,000 readers, but it doesn't sound like a lot, but they were people who specifically bought this magazine because they liked this niche thing. So It's not so different from targeting today.
Right.
So I guess I've got nothing really specific to say about this. I wish it was simpler. I wish you could just go to somebody and say, here's some money, put me on a good page. I know I'll be on page 6 of your magazine and people will see it, as opposed to here are the dark arts of SEO and algorithms. And why don't you go pay a consultant to figure out how to do that?
Right.
Anyway, so that's the thing. If you use Facebook for your business, pay attention. That might matter.
Yeah. All right. This next one's fun. So Toons, second edition, the cartoon role-playing games coming back.
Oh, this is so great.
It is. It's funny because I only ran when I was, way back in the day when Toon was still like kind of a new game. I actually ran a couple games of it and it was fun.
Mhm.
I have to say that it's difficult to run a lot of Toon, right? Because it's zany and it's hard to be zany all the time. It's more of a kind of a one shot or a fun thing or a convention game or whatever, but it's really great for that. And I say the same thing about
doing a campaign that goes for years playing Toon.
Now, I say the same thing for Call of Cthulhu. Great game, but it's not a
Paranoia.
game. Yeah, Paranoia.
I think Toon and Paranoia are really similar in that sense.
Yeah.
It's a really fun to run for a few sessions, but then you get back to whatever your other thing is.
Right. So a second edition's coming out. It's on Backer Kit, and has it launched yet?
I love the art they have for this one because it definitely still feels like the old Toon art.
Yes,
but it's better. But what's great about it, it's not better, quote unquote, like realistic or like, oh, we got a bunch of, they didn't use 3D renders or God help us some AI crap. It's obviously an illustrator who's good at their craft, who knows how to do it. We still have the not really Bugs Bunny because we don't have the copyright to him kind of care. A lot of the characters are tropes you're used to with the serial numbers kind of rubbed off. Although I love, that's definitely Snidely Whiplash in the back.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful Snidely Whiplash.
Yeah,
and awesome. I think the guy with the fez is sort of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle type.
Looks like it. Yeah.
So, but
here's the thing. When I saw this, I actually saw this independently on Kickstarter, and I've been thinking about just funding it just because or not funding it, but backing it because it's just, I don't know, it's just cool just to support the creators. But I think it's the same artist as the original. I believe so.
That was so long ago.
That's what I thought. That was kind of crazy, but I think it's the same artist.
It says Kyle Miller. All right, you talk. I'll
okay.
Google.
So it says so if you don't know what Toon is, it's a tabletop RPG where players act as cartoon characters in a world where nobody ever dies. So you can't die. It's like it's like the Roadrunner Coyote. If you're old enough to know what that means, I think everybody is, right? Tom and Jerry, whatever. So you could be playing a game where you open a cabinet and a bomb goes off. Your character's not going to die. They're just going to be like all black for a few seconds because they're covered in soot. They might have to pick their beak up off the ground and put it back on their face. But it's goofy like that.
I looked it up. So Kyle Miller is the original artist from 1984 who's back.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, right?
No wonder they're so good. Okay.
Yeah.
No wonder it's so good.
So it's it's fast paced. It says silly action over complex planning. It used a simple system of 4 stats: brawn, zip, smarts, and chutzpah, and 12 skills. And then you only roll a single 6-sided die for rolls. It's really family friendly. I guess you could make it crazy if you wanted to, but it's inherently family friendly. And then let's see, what have they done? They have the rules are updated to be faster and have a better ease of use by 2026 standards, which we know back in the 80s, things could get a little crunchy, even a simple game like this.
Yeah. Hey, it was, original second edition and new second edition. What's that?
What's that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the things you put in here. I'm jumping ahead.
This came up, this original second edition. I didn't verify this. I don't know if there was a second edition in 91 or not. Maybe there was. I don't know. I just found this information online. I haven't had time to vet it. But the older edition. Yeah, I think that's where I got the idea of. Oh yeah, that's where I found out about the Kyle Miller.
So it's the second edition.
Yeah, I'm sure. Which is even better because it's Toon.
Yeah.
Makes it even better. But one of the really cool things is that the original was black and white on the inside. It had a color cover, it was black and white on the inside. This one's color all the way through.
Okay. Cool. I guess it's cheaper to print color now than it was back then. So good.
Yeah,
it's good.
Probably a little bit.
Not a lot, but it's better. It's better.
And this one comes with it says over a dozen adventures and more silly tables.
Mm-hmm.
So
Silly tables is where it's at.
yeah, silly tables
Because
is awesome.
you see, that's the thing. We've talked about this here on the show before, that when you make an RPG that's intended to be funny,
Mm-hmm.
that's tough
Mm-hmm.
because people are going to be silly no matter what. I mean, you can be playing Call of Cthulhu Dead Babies edition and people are going to make jokes.
Right.
But that's not an edition, by the way. But if you make a game that's supposed to be funny, not everybody is a comedian, or at
Right.
least they might think they are, but not everybody's
Mm-hmm.
as funny as they think they are. So you need to give people stuff that creates the humor, and that's silly tables.
Yeah. And it's funny because you and I have read we've both read two books by comedians recently,
Yes.
Jimmy Carr and John Cleese.
Yes.
And in both of those, these are professional, I mean, like top tier A+ comedians, and they talk about how much work goes into crafting, like generating their craft.
Mhm.
Like their jokes fail all the time, but they weed those out, and
you see
and they
somebody doing what looks like a quick off the cup bit of witty repartee from one of them. They've been playtesting. They've been workshopping that thing for months.
Yeah. And these are people who that's all they do. That is their fun. So just being
If
funny
you
on the
watch, you think of all the TV shows where there's characters that are just so witty right off the top of their head. Like if you've seen The Thick of It
right.
with Peter Capaldi, who's just nonstop hilarious, or any of the Ben Elton things where people just seem to be ready to go with, or even if you like Aaron Sorkin, his stuff. So people think, well, I'm going to be funny like these characters. Those characters were written.
Yeah.
They didn't come up with that on the spot. Blackadder, Rowan Atkinson is not that witty in real life. He isn't going to come up with a Blackadder line just off the top of his head. So
Now,
this is, silly tables are maybe a little bit of an opportunity to give you that ready-made funny.
right. And some of us, I mean, like those guys and like the friends that you may have who are like notoriously funny, like, I got this friend who's really funny. If you really look at it, they're pulling from a script they've been generating all their life. They go back to the same points over and over again. And that's what the silly tables gives you. It gives you that basis to like say, hey, I'm in this situation. I need something to spark the funny. And it's like, oh, here's the little spark to build off of. So I think that's good. I think that's awesome.
Hanai, my wife and I, we've been wanting to make a line of just funny characters and comics and stuff to sell on t-shirts, because she does her shop that she sells things, and so every time we think of something good together, like a good joke, a good pun, or whatever, we write it down. And this morning we sat down and said, let's go through all of them, and we had about 120 great ideas. But then I looked at the calendar dates on them, and they go back to 2021.
Right.
So it took 4 years to come up with 120 good ideas.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not, none of these would I have come up with off the top of our heads.
And they're funny to you guys. So I'm not saying that they're not
we'll
funny.
We'll see if they're funny to anybody
we'll
else.
See if they're funny. Yeah, that's same thing with me, man. I think of a funny joke and I tell it, and then I get like a womp womp, and I'm like, oh, come on, that's funny. Yeah, and it just wasn't. It wasn't.
Yeah, like I won't go into them right now, but they're. I'll tell you my favorite one, which is I'm going to do one that's the Princess and the Pea, except it's PEE.
Okay. That's funny.
The comic opportunities.
Yeah.
All right. So Toon, I can't wait to play this.
Yeah.
It's funding at conventions.
So it's funding right now, and it's got it's ending on January 15th. It's already hit its goal. Of course it has. It'll be, you can get the PDF soft cover, and there's a hardcover format available. And it's expected to ship in December of 2026.
Oh, that's a long wait.
That is a long ways. They must not be done very much with it.
We are shipping in March.
Yeah. Well,
we're better than Steve Jackson.
We are better than Steve Jackson. I've been saying that for years. No. All right. Anyway, that's enough. Toon looks cool. Check it out.
All right. So for our last story of the day, this one I'm really excited about. So Candace Harris, if you don't know who she is, then you haven't been watching the Board Game Geek podcast. She has been a fixture of Board Game Geek for years. And so it's kind of big news that she's jumping ship and going over to GMT Games. GMT Games, for those who don't know, is basically the I would say the actual spiritual successor of Avalon Hill and
Hmm.
SPI.
Yeah.
In fact, they have picked up a lot of the titles that
Like
used to be
Panzer,
published.
right?
Panzerfaust.
Yep.
Well, I guess it's just called Panzer now. Was it
Right.
called Panzerfaust
I
before?
think it was. I want to say it
Okay,
was
but
because I
they
think I
are
have
the
a
one.
copy of it somewhere.
Yeah, but they do. Um, uh, oh my gosh! Now I'm suddenly blanking. What is the biggest counter and board war game of
Not
them all? Squad
Axis and
Leader,
Allies.
ASL, Advanced Squad Leader.
Oh, right, right. Okay.
So they're the advanced squad leader guys. So GMT is this is not casual gaming. This is hardcore gaming. This is
Hmm.
um spend I was going to say weeks, months, years studying strategy. If you're a graduate of West Point, you'll do good at GMT games, right?
Right.
Um and so uh, I think it's really cool to see. Obviously, this has kind of been a passion of hers personally all along. So while she's been talking about so many different types of board games, she's now going to um, like I said, the most difficult of them all, and rewarding. I should say rewarding.
Yeah.
So I mean, some of their games are actually relatively accessible. So have you ever played Twilight Struggle?
No, I've not.
A few years ago, Twilight Struggle was #1 on Board Game Geek, and it was one of those things where you could not buy a copy of that game for love or money. They were going for on eBay for hundreds of dollars because GMT just could not keep up with the demand. And it was a really fun game. It still is. It's a two-player game where you are taking on the roles of the United States and the Soviet Union during the Cold War, and you're battling for spheres of influence around the world in a very historically accurate way, completely fun.
Okay.
And that's different from a board and counter war game, right?
Hmm.
But anyway, so she has uh, left Board Game Geek, and now she is. I'm not exactly sure what her title is. She's working for GMT Games right now, and she is going to be using her podcasting and video casting and just generally incredibly enthusiastic skills. Her love for board gaming is infectious, and so bringing that to GMT style games is going to be wonderful for them.
Yeah, dude. If anyone who could see the or is watching us live or watching us later, whatever, watching it,
Mhm.
look at that face, man. Look at that smile.
Yeah, that's a happy. That's somebody who's happy to be board gaming.
Yeah.
And now her shows are long, and we got nothing to say about that because we do long shows. But they're really good. She does a great job on her videos of actually breaking them up into chapters so you can jump around to the things you're looking for. Um, One of the games, the GMT games she was promoting on her newest one, I've forgotten the name of it off the top of my head, but it was fascinating because it's a traditional war game in the sense of uh, hardcore counters and moving everything around, but it focuses on the side of war that people don't realize is actually the more important side. So, what do you think is more important than the battles themselves?
So I've always read that it's breaking the will of the
No,
enemy to fight.
more important than that.
The economy.
Why did Napoleon fail to take
Oh,
out
the
Russia?
supply chain.
There you go. The
Okay,
supply
okay.
chain.
Sorry. I thought. Oh, that's the actual tactic. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
you lose your supply
logistic,
chain, you lose the war.
the logistics, the supply chain.
Yep.
And so it takes this idea of like a resource management game and applies it to wargaming
Hmm.
and says, hang on a second, all of the brilliant strategy in the world isn't going to help you if you're out of ammo or if your troops have no shoes.
Oh yeah, you lose supply, you're done.
Yeah. So it was kind of cool to see diving into that. She's just done her, yeah, Ed Lopez pulled it up,
Yep.
logistics. He said
There you
it
go,
in
buddy.
time. He had it right in the chat. So yeah, really excited to have subscribed to her new channel already. There's only a couple thousand subscribers so far. So if you go to find Candace Harris's new channel and subscribe, you'll be one of the first and you'll be extra cool, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Extra special.
but here's the thing: I've never met her, don't know her. Would love to because I'm going to pitch an idea right now. We've had this idea at Solarian Games for a while. We're not going to do it because we don't have the um, background and we don't have the resources to do it. But there was a TV show in the 1970s
Right.
Yes, called Battlegrounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be clear, my idea, I had this idea before I found out about Battlegrounds. But I was thinking about, with all of the actual play and everything else that happens around board gaming and RPGs, why isn't there any more for historical wargaming? And specifically, I'm thinking miniatures wargaming. And so the idea was, could we set up a show that actually did historical miniatures wargaming and treated it like a sports show, with little
Right.
X's and zeros and
Right.
all that kind of stuff. And when I brought this idea up to Nathan Likey, he pointed out, did you know in the 70s there was a show kind of like that? It's called Battlegrounds. They only made like a half a dozen episodes, but it's brilliant. And so maybe she could do something like that. Maybe she could make it happen. I don't care who does it. I just want to watch it. Can somebody please make this and do a good job with it?
Yeah, and I foresee, like, if you did something like that, it would have to be like a little bit of time lapse, right? You wouldn't want, like,
real time. That's the trouble.
It.
Battlegrounds was almost real time. I mean, they edited it for thing, but it was slow.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it because I love slow. I think golf is a little fast paced for me.
Oh my God. Okay.
I like Norwegian slow TV, where you just go down you sit on a train for 8 hours, but that's probably not going to do it for people. You have to really kind of zhuzh it up.
And I think it'd be cool if you had like two commentators that are talking to each other, right?
Yes, exactly.
And then, like,
just like NFL commentators.
Yeah. And one goes,
a bunch of them around, instead of Terry Bradshaw, have Tim Kask. I don't know.
Like, could you imagine? It's like, oh, he just cut off their supply line. What are they gonna do now?
Their morale is dropping.
What a bad roll. Oh man, all the right decisions.
I want to watch that. Please, somebody make this. If you want to make this and you need some help, let me know. I just won't give you any money. But yeah. So anyways, that aside, as we said, Candace Harris, she now has her own new channel, and just search on YouTube for Candace Harris, or Google for Candace Harris, Candice Harris, like Franco Harris. There you go. And so look for her, check out her new stuff. Really excited to see it happening, and maybe we'll be able to get her on as a guest sometime.
That might be really cool.
All right.
I mean, it would be really cool, actually. Not might be. That would be cool.
It might be, as in might be, we'd be able to do it. So,
yeah, that's right. That's what the might be is. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that's it. That's the news for this week.
Yeah, it's a little short this week.
Come on.
It's holidays. Yeah. And I just did Hanukkah with the family. So
yes. Oh, it's over now. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So
it was a good time, man.
What'd you make?
I made the brisket. And then
came out good again.
Oh, it was the best one I've made so far. And then the family brought kugel and latkes, and
but I bet you didn't have any raisins in your kugel.
We did not. We do not eat that garbage kugel.
So wrong. Kugel needs raisins. I'm telling you right now.
And then we also had challah. And
challah.
That's why I always do that. And I always get yelled at.
Do that joke.
I always get yelled at.
Always do that joke.
I think that's it. And then the rest of it was just, vegetables, the regular, just normal.
Yeah. Wonderful. And so we've got Christmas coming up in 4 days. Yeah. Yep. So you can get PDFs from us, but you can't get anything shipped in time for Christmas. No, nothing. I was going to say Amazon maybe, but I think at this point, even Amazon's probably going to have a hard time with it. But Kwanzaa's not for another week or two. So, you could just do that instead.
Sure. I mean, it's still on sale.
Mm-hmm. We'll keep it on sale for the whole holiday season.
Sale, yeah. I mean, you can still buy it
for the 3 biggies of this season. And next week we are going to have a special guest. So we said we were going to be early this week, but that wasn't because with Hanukkah and everything, we had to move it to next week. So next week we'll be on early at 1 p.m. to have Eric Rubin of the Russian version of Top Secret, which is, I don't know what it's called in Russian. Top Secret.
The secret. I don't know. But I am so excited about that.
Yes.
I don't know why that excites me so much that there's a Russian version. It just does.
So Cold War. It's so Cold War.
Yeah, it is.
All right. So we'll be over in the Patreon Discord channel in about 10 minutes. Peter and I have to do a quick bit of secret collaborating. So we'll be there in about 10 minutes.
Do our clandestine discussions.
Yes, clandestine discussions. We're going to be changing the name of the company to Atari. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
And please subscribe and do all those things. But most importantly, be with the people that you love this holiday season and get some gaming in. We would love to hear about it.
Absolutely.
Have a good night, everyone.